conference for one civil works project. To start with, let us all stand for the opening prayer.
Let us pray to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Almighty God, our Father, we praise and thank you for this day. You have given us another opportunity to appreciate life and fulfill our mission as an instrument of peace and progress. Please pardon us for our shortcomings. Help us to remember to have peace. Lord, Father, and the lives of your sons and sons. Father, as a learned temper, especially today, as we have not been with our minutes, invite us to our discussions. Unite our minds in every decision we do. Give us your grace that we may effectively work towards the common servants. Bless our plans, programs, and projects, and will we achieve our objectives for your greater glory. All this we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
May I introduce to you our Vice Chairperson, Engineer Francisca Malcon. And for the back members, we have Engineer Troy Villanueva, Engineer Elidura Zulia, and Ms. Joy Despar. And for the back TWG, we have Engineer Adrian Bon Villarreal, Engineer Ivy Sodesta, Engineer Flor Angel Gagnanan, Ms. Gail Candice Cañete, Engineer Ron Ortiz, and for our back secretariat members, we have Ms. Cherry Ginesca and Ms. Ebony Gallo. And you have representative from Planning and Design Section, Engineer Sarah Gatmaitan. We don't have any representative from respective leaders to attend this afternoon's PVID conference. Contract ID 24GE0062, construction of rainwater collector, Municipality of Ordan, Buenavista, and Nueva, Valencia, Province of Guimaras. Location, Hordan National High School, Poblacion, Hordan, Guimaras. Agsanayan Elementary School, Agsanayan, Buenavista, Guimaras. Agsanayan National High School, Agsanayan, Buenavista, Guimaras. Paaralan ng Buhay ng Taras, Calaya, Nueva, Valencia, Guimaras. Parole and Probation Administration Building, Barangay Lanipit, Nueva, Valencia, Guimaras. Approved budget for the contract, 2,895,000. Source of funds, FY 2024 GAA. Contract duration, 105 calendar days. Contract cost of BDOCS, 5,000 pesos. The scope of works for 24GE0062, Part 1, other general requirements, Part A, earthworks, Part B, plain and reinforced concrete works, Part C, finishing works, Part D, plumbing, sanitary works. The required pickup license for 24GE0062 are as follows. Size range, small b, license category C and D, single largest project above 500,000 up to 10 million pesos. Allowable range of contract cost up to 15 million pesos. Major categories of works for 24GE0062, WSL1, water supply level 1, construction shallow wells, rainwater collectors. Similar categories of works, WSL2 and 3, water supply level 2 and 3, construction, pipe water with communal private water point. FHW, flood control hydraulics water supply. Qualifiers, leader must have an experience in similar flood control projects and water supply projects with 50% of items of work of the project. Example, A, deep well, B, reservoir, C, water work system, D, water source development, E, water treatment system, and F, water tank. General condition of the contract. Notes on the general condition of contract. The general conditions of contract in this section read in conjunction with the special conditions of contract in section 5 and other documents listed therein. Should be a complete document expressing all rights and obligations of the parties. Matters governing performance of the contractor, payments under the contract, or matters affecting the risk, rights, and obligations of the parties under contract are included in the GCC and special conditions of contract. Any complementary information which may be needed shall be introduced only through the special conditions of contract. Number 1, scope of contract. This contract shall include all such items, although not specifically mentioned, that can be reasonably inferred as being required for its completion, as if such items were expressly mentioned herein. All the provisions of RA number 9184 and its 2016 revised IRR, including the generic procurement manual and associated issuances, constitute the primary source for the terms and conditions of the contract, and thus applicable in contract implementation. Herein, clauses shall serve as a secondary source for the terms and conditions of the contract. This is without prejudice to section 74.1 and 74.2 of the 2016 revised IRR of RA number 9184, allowing the GPPD to amend the IRR, which shall be applied to all procurement activities, the advertisement, posting, or invitation of which were issued after the effectivity of the said amendment. Number 2, sectional completion of works. If sectional completion is specified in the special conditions of contract, references in the conditions of contract to the works, the completion date, and the intended completion date shall apply to any section of the work, other than references to the completion date and intended completion date for the whole of the works. Number 3, position of site. The procuring entity shall keep position of all or parts of the site to the contractor based on the schedule of delivery indicated in the ACC, which corresponds to the execution of the works. If the contractor suffers delay or incurs cost or failure on the part of the procuring entity to give position in accordance with the terms of this clause, the procuring entity's representative shall give the contractor a contract time extension and certify such sum as fair to cover the cost incurred, which sum shall be paid by procuring entity. If position of a portion is not given by the above date, the procuring entity will be deemed to have delayed the start of the relevant activities. The resulting adjustments in contract time to address such delay may be addressed through contract extension provided under Annex E of the 2016 revised IRR of RA number 9184. The contractor's obligation. The contractor shall employ the key personnel named in the schedule of key personnel indicating their designation in accordance with ITD clause 10.2 and 10.3 as specified in the BDS to carry out the supervision of the works. The procuring entity will approve a proposed replacement of key personnel only if the relevant qualifications and abilities are equal to or better than those of the personnel listed in the schedule.
Performance security. Within 10 calendar days from the receipt of the notice of award from the procuring entity, but in no case later than signing of the contract by both parties, the successful bidder shall furnish the performance security in any of the forms prescribed in section 39 of the 2016 revised IRR. The contractor, by entering into the contract with the procuring entity, acknowledges the right of the procuring entity to execute action pursuant to RA number 3688 against any subcontractor, be they an individual, partnership, corporation, or association supplying the contractor with labor, materials, or equipment for the performance of this contract. Site investigation reports. The contractor, in preparing the bid, shall rely on the site investigation reports referred to in the SCC supplemented by any information obtained by the contractor. Warranty. In case the contractor fails to undertake the repair works under Section 62.2.2 of the 2000 revised IRR, the procuring entity shall forfeits its performance security, subject its properties to attachment or garnishing proceedings, and perpetually disqualify it from participating in any public bidding. All payables of the GOP in this favor shall be offset to recover the costs. The warranty against structural defects or failures, except the occasion on force majeure, shall cover the period from the date of issuance of the certificate of final acceptance by the procuring entity. Specific duration of the warranty is found in the ECC. Liability of the contractor. Subject to additional provisions, if any, set forth in the SEC, the contractor's liability under this contract shall be as provided by the laws of the Republic of the Philippines. If the contractor is a joint venture, all partners to the joint venture shall be jointly and severally liable to the procuring entity. Termination for other causes. Contract termination shall be initiated in case it is determined prima facie by the procuring entity that the contractor has engaged before or during the implementation of the contract in unlawful deeds and behaviors relative to the contract acquisition and implementation such as, but not limited to corrupt, fraudulent, collusive, coercive, and obstructive practice as stated in the ITB 4. Day works. Subject to the guidelines on variation order in Annex E of the 2016 revised IRR of the RA number 9184, and if applicable is indicated in the ECC, the day work rates in the contractor's bid shall be used for small additional amounts of work only when the procuring entity's representative has given written instruction in advance for additional work to be paid for in that way. Program of work. The contractor shall submit to the procuring entity's representative for approval the said program of work showing the general methods, arrangements, order, and timing of all the activities in the works. The submission of the program of works are indicated in the ECC. The contractor shall submit in the procuring entity's representative for approval an updated program of work at intervals no longer than the period stated in the ECC. If the contractor does not submit an updated program of work within this period, the procuring entity's representative may withhold the amounts stated in the ECC from the next payment certificate and continue to withhold this amount until the next payment after the date on which the overdue program of works has been submitted. Instructions, inspections, and audits. The contractor shall permit the GEP or the procuring entity to inspect the contractor's accounts and records relating to the performance of the contractor and to have them audited by auditors of the GOP or the procuring entity as may be required. Advance payment. The procuring entity shall, upon a written request of the contractor, which shall be submitted as a contract document, make an advance payment to the contractor in an amount not exceeding 15% of the total contract price to be made in a lump sum or at the most 2 installments according to a schedule specified in the SCC, subject to the requirements in Annex E of the 2016 revised IRR of RA 9184. Progress payments. The contractor may submit a request for payment for work accomplished. Such request for payment shall be verified and certified by the procuring entity's representative or project engineer, except as otherwise stipulated in the ECC. Materials and equipment delivered to the site but not completely put in place shall not be included for payment. Operating and maintenance manual. If required, the contractor will provide as-built drawings and or operating and maintenance manuals as specified in the SCC. If the contractor does not provide the drawings or manuals by the date stated above, or they do not receive the procuring entity's representative approval, the procuring entity's representative may withhold the amounts stated in the ECC from payments due to the contractor.
Special conditions of contract. Notes on the special conditions of contract. Similar to the BDS, the clauses in these sections are intended to assist the procuring entity in providing contract-specific information in relation to corresponding clauses in the GCC found in section 4. The special conditions of contract complement the GCC, specifying contractual requirements linked to the special circumstances of the procuring entity. The procuring entity's country, the sector, and the works procured. In preparing this section, the following aspects should be checked. A. The provisions that complement provisions of the GCC must be incorporated. B. Amendments and or supplements to the provision of the GCC as necessitated by the circumstances of the specific purchase must also be incorporated. However, no special conditions which defeats or negates the general intent and purpose of the provisions of the GCC should be incorporated therein.
Section 6, Specifications. Notes on specifications. The set of precise and clear specifications is a prerequisite for bidders to respond realistically and competitively to the requirements of the procuring entity without qualifying or conditioning their bids. In the context of international competitive bidding, the specifications must be drafted to permit the widest possible competition and at the same time present a clear statement of the required standards of workmanship, materials, and performance of the goods and services to be procured. Only if this is done will the objectives of economy, efficiency, and fairness in procurement be realized, responsiveness of bids be ensured, and the subsequent task of bid evaluation facilitated. The specifications should require that all goods and materials to be incorporated in the works be new, unused, of the most recent or current models, and incorporate all recent improvement in design and materials, unless provided otherwise in the contract. Samples of specifications from previous similar projects are useful in this respect. The use of metric units is mandatory. Most specifications are normally written specially by the procuring entity or its representative to suit the works at hand. There is no standard set of specifications for universal application in all sectors, in all regions, but there are established principles and practices which are reflected in these PBDs. There are considerable advantages in standardizing general specifications for repetitive works in recognized public sectors such as highways, ports, railways, urban housing, irrigation, and water supply in the same country or region where similar conditions prevail. The general specification should cover all classes of workmanship, materials, and equipment commonly involved in construction, although not necessarily to be used in a particular works contract. The editions or addenda should then adapt the general specifications to the particular works. Care must be taken in drafting specifications to ensure that they are not restrictive. In the specification of standards for goods, materials, and workmanship, recognized international standards should be used as much as possible. Where other particular standards are used, whether national standards or other standards, the specification should state that goods, materials, and workmanship that meet other authoritative standards and which ensure substantially equal or higher quality than the standards mentioned will also be acceptable. The following clause may be inserted in the ECC. Sample clause, equivalency of standards and codes. Wherever reference is made in the contract to specific standards and codes to be met with the goods and materials to be furnished, and were performed or tested, the provisions of the latest current edition or revision of the relevant standards and codes in effect shall apply, unless otherwise expressly stated in the contract. Where such standards and codes are national or relate to a particular country or region, other authoritative standards that ensure a substantially equal or higher quality than the standards and codes specified will be accepted. Such subject to the procuring entity's representatives' prior review and written consent. Differences between the standards specified in the proposed alternative standards shall be fully described in writing by the contractor and submitted to the procuring entity's representative at least 28 days prior to the date when the contractor desires the procuring entity's representative's consent. In the event the procuring entity's representative determines that such proposed deviations do not ensure substantially equal or higher quality, the contractor shall comply with the standards specified in the documents. These notes are intended only as information for the procuring entity or the person drafting the bidding documents. They should not be included in the final bidding documents.
For drawings and bill of quantities, please see the uploaded files at PhilJEP's and DPWH website. These are the documents comprising the bid, legal documents, PhilJEP's registration, SEC registration or DTI registration, mayor's permit, and tax clearance. For technical documents, requirements, statement of ongoing contracts, statement of bidder's single largest completed contracts, pickup license or special pickup joint venture license, bid security, organizational chart, list of contractors' major equipment, list of contractors' minimum materials, testing equipment, omnibus warrant statement, ITR and financial statement, in FCC computation, valid joint venture agreement, if applicable. Financial documents requirements, financial bid form, bill of quantities, detailed estimates including summary sheet, quarterly, monthly cash flow, and payment schedule. All documents shall be printed in A4 format, tab, and bounded. Please attach the bidding documents in the technical component. Please attach the bidding documents in the technical component of your bid. For bids to be submitted electronically or online, the following procedure should be observed following DO 87-2020. Number 1, submission of electronic official receipt of purchase of the bidding documents. Number 2, confirmation of the electronically submitted official receipt. Number 3, preparation and submission of an electronic bid. Number 4, modification of an electronic bid. Number 5, non-participation in the bidding. Number 6, withdrawal of electronic bid. Number 7, opening of the electronic bid. And number 8, file name convention in case of a joint venture bidder. Bid opening for 24 GE 0062 shall be on March 25, 2024, Monday, 9 a.m. at 2nd floor, bidding room, DPWH Guimaras District Engineering Office, San Miguel, Hordan, Guimaras. Bids will be opened in the presence of the bidders' representatives who choose to attend. Late bid shall not be accepted. Bid submission may be done manually or electronically or online. However, bidders should only select one mode of submission, either manual or electronic. Similar to manual submission, the guidelines for the preparation and submission of an electronic bid are contained in the BDF. Bids must be duly received by the box secretariat for manual submission or at electronic bids_Guimaras at dpwh.gov.ph for electronic submission on or before March 25, 2024 at 9 a.m. All bids must be accompanied by a bid security in any of the acceptable forms and in the amount stated in ITP Clause 18. Any clarifications?
No clarification.
Since there are no clarifications and no representative from the prospective bidders, this